Hey guys, everybody, welcome into Friday before Labor Day weekend. That means that preseason NFL is over and the regular season's getting ready to kick off. I am your buddy Choppadong. Of course, I am a content editor inside DFSArmy.com, and I wanted to at least just get a quick message out to you guys about what to expect going forward. You've seen a lot of promo articles, hopefully, some screenshots, and a whole bunch of stuff, but I just wanted to go through kind of maybe bullet by bullet and cover to the best of my ability what you can expect because it's a lot. And no matter how hard I try to do this, I'm going to forget a few of the key features that we offer. But let's just kind of start going maybe tab by tab and see. I mean, of course, articles, you're going to get a bunch of strategy articles. You just come over here to NFL and you can come right down the list to the strategy section. And we're starting a basic training series of videos right now. You can see they have their own little tab right here where we're going to cover bankroll management again, and we're going to cover cash game fundamentals again by one of our biggest cash players in Cash Keg, one of our directors of DFS operations. And to be quite honest with you, Keg's a high volume player. He, I think, played about 3,500 bucks last night in college, and preseason NFL combined brought back about $7,000. So yeah, people look at that and go, well, he didn't even double up. Yeah, but he made three freaking grand. So that's worth listening to. Nobody gets excited about turning $5 into $8, but if you turn $5,000 into $8,000, you'd be pretty freaking jacked out of your mind. And that's a lot easier to do than it is to turn $5 into $1,000, which is what everybody wants to do. So there's a certain amount of blending philosophies that needs to take place as the industry grows and the industry changes that people need to pay attention to. And that is one of the big coaching concepts we're going to take forward into this year at DFSArmy.com, because our goal is to make you a better player in whatever way we can. Maybe you're a beginner and you want to get to an intermediate level. Maybe you're intermediate and you want to get to an advanced level. I promise you, if you plug into the coaching and actually interact with our experts and with our coaches in any particular sport, you will grow. You will take your game to a new, tangible level. Because I've never seen anybody not do it unless they just kind of lazily expected to get lineups handed to them or some crap like that. I mean, look at me. I am probably one of the quintessential examples. And I don't play for big dollars. Y'all know that. But I started off just as a guy asking our CEO, Kevin, questions. And hey, I like the blog, I got a question. Hey, I like this blog, I got a question. Next thing you know, we start this coaching forum concept, and I'm maybe one of the first 10 guys in there because I'm like, I am in. I love this idea of getting accessibility and getting, some coaching. And as long as you put your money where your mouth is, I'll try you out. And next thing you know, I'm an opinionated guy. I'm in there voicing an opinion with a bunch of the other OGs. And it was like 10 to 20 to 30 of us those first few weeks of NFL, just talking football, getting up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, starting to talk about what do you think about today. Next thing you know, a few opinions start becoming stronger. A few people that knew how to research started pulling to the front and then helping other people out. And from there, we helped out more, we helped out more, we helped out more. The Army kept growing and growing and growing. And then leadership roles started popping up. Hey, can you ghostwrite for me when I go out of town this week? Or hey, can you start writing concept? I went to Kevin and said, I want to start a blog because Kevin specifically told me the way your game gets better is to write about it, to build an audience, to maybe hold yourself accountable to the research that you're providing to people, whether it's 2 readers or 2 million readers. It doesn't necessarily matter. You're going to be accountable to those people. And I thought, well, I'm not doing this to become famous. I want to do this because I just kind of want to get better and I like writing. And so let's see where it goes. And one thing leads to another. And I said, can I use some of the DFS Army stuff in my blog? And he said, well, sure. And he said, better yet, why don't you write for me? I'll create a position. And you can start writing. And next thing you know, we bring on more writers. We bring on more writers. We expand to more sports. We start this optimizer. And then, I mean, stuff just has snowballed over the past 3 or 4 years, mostly due to demand because of the coaching that we offer. We pour our heart and souls into you guys as members the best we can to elevate your game because we believe long term that is what is going to grow our site too. It's a win-win. You get better, we get bigger. It's very, very simple. And we believe we should be coaching the world. Without coaching in today's tough DFS environment, I don't think your edge is very big at all, if you even have one. This goes back to poker analogy time when they had heads up displays on your poker tables. If you didn't have access to those stats, everybody else had them on you. you are now at a competitive disadvantage. So it's kind of like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. Everybody these days is moving behind DFS paywalls. All of the best articles in the industry that have been free for so long have just pretty much been locked up. If you are not paying for advice out there today, you are behind the curve. It's that simple. Here's how we're going to bring some of this advice to you, long story short. You've seen our draft kit, you've seen our table with notes, you've seen our rankings and things like that. That's how we're going to bring our coaching to you in NFL. We started this in NBA last year. We're going full circle. We've had a lot of guinea pigs, a lot of trials and errors, and we have set ourselves up on a format of coaching notes. We'll see if they're up right now, but we've set ourselves up on a format of coaching notes that we believe conveys efficient information to you as quickly as humanly possible. We have poured hours and hours and hours of research from Keg, from Geek, from people like that that play high volume and know what they're talking about. And we are pouring that into you. Okay, we still got preseason notes up here, but you can see basically the positions, the teams, the salaries, the matchups, and then our rankings. Are they a core play, an all format play, just cash, just GPP? Those types of situations. What is our confidence rating in the play? Is it a 5-star, 4-star? And then notes. Why do we like what we like? We're going to provide research data and some analytics in those notes for you to quickly go through the 5 or 6 quarterbacks, the 10 or 12 or 20 wide receivers, et cetera, and quickly assess on your busy schedule the best players from the best players according to your philosophy. Now, will it include everybody that goes off every week? No, because we're going to keep our list relatively small. We're using this as sort of a foundation of solid plays in which you can build around. And this replaces a lot of our articles that used to take hours and hours and hours to write and get passed around because the information is good enough that it deserves to be premium information locked up behind a paywall so that the recreationals don't get it unless they pay for it. Therefore, that keeps you guys that are in the VIP program at dfsarmy.com, it keeps you guys at a competitive advantage to these other people that are either, too cheap, too lazy, or just too arrogant to think that they need some help. That's what we're going to start with, is that coaching sheet. That's what forms everything. After you've watched those basic training videos, you're going to want to watch those coaching sheets. Next, you might look at our research station. I know that's not populated yet, but it's coming along soon for week 1 now that we're here, and you're going to see all sorts of analytical data from snap counts to red zone percentage to even the DFSA grades and whatnot. You're going to see our projections in our optimizer with the ownership reports over here. There's a new stacking feature that is just about ready to go live that is going to give you more hands-on control than you could possibly fathom. We've studied the Millie Maker along with a lot of other people in the industry, and we've noticed the same trends that a lot of other people have noticed. But where we separate that is we actually didn't just write an article about it and say, hey, go do this. We build a damn optimizer around it for you to build yourself. You want to jam out 150 lineups in a couple of minutes and center it around a few key rules like the stacks that we disclose to our members that are winning the Millie Maker most often? Game stacks, quarterback, wide receiver, and then the opposing wide receiver, running back, defense, quarterback, tight end, and the wide receiver. How many is too many? Is 3 or 4 or 5 players too many? Should you just be running quarterback, wide receiver? Can you run quarterback and running back? Could you also run a quarterback, wide receiver stack and then a defense and a running back type situation over on the other side and run 2 stacks in the same that are from 2 different games? All of these things are being broken down inside our coaching forums and being discussed to show you how to best construct your Millie Maker lineups and give you the best odds to win those giant super GPPs. We also break off and do cash game stuff. What are the ideas behind cash game? That would be like consistency factors. And I've got 2 things for you there. Number 1, our sheets are going to be cash centric this year more than ever before. It doesn't mean cash only, but it means we do actually believe that you should be putting 80 to 90%, 70 to 90% of your bankroll into cash games so that you can give yourself the best shot to grind up a bankroll and pay for those long range GPP fees that are going to normally drain your bankroll. You should be supplementing that with cash game picks so that you can live indefinitely for the big strike. That's the concept. And we're going to do that through our coaching sheet showing you those, we're aiming for consistency and we're aiming for positions at the quarterback. There are things to look for. There are things to look for at receiver. There are things to look for at tight end that give you the most correlation to fantasy points, which means gives you the highest level of consistency for your player to hit value. And that is what's going to win you your cash games. Yeah, you're going to look at, let's say we got three guys that we're thinking about. We know, well, let's just do this. We know running back. We know Tony Pollard's going to be really, really chalky if Zeke holds out or continues to hold out and misses time, right? Because he's underpriced, because he wasn't thought of as a starter before pricing came out. And then when it did, all of a sudden this guy's way too cheap for the role that he has in the matchup that he has. And you're going to look at a Tony, and that's the type of chalk you might go, well, I just got to eat that. But that affords me the chance to get up to Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley or I don't know, Nick Chubb or somebody like that that's also in a pretty good spot this week. And, who would I look for there? Well, let's say you're looking at ownership reports and you say that Christian McCaffrey is going to be the highest owned of those great big studs. And you've got Le'Veon Bell and Saquon Barkley up there with them price-wise and whatever else. You may then pivot off to one of those guys and say, this is also a stud. He's also in a pretty good spot. And since most of the crowd is going with McCaffrey, I'll fade him and I'll go here. Now I'm eating the chalk with Tony Pollard, but I'm fading the chalk with Christian McCaffrey perhaps, or Saquon, whoever it's going to be. Maybe you make that slight little subtle change and that gives you a little bit of leverage. These are the concepts that we teach, and these are the things you're going to glean from those coaching notes. The other thing that we're going to do, that's how you might use the consistency. You would just take the chalk, probably the Christian McCaffrey, right? Because why gamble with that stuff when tight end is already going to be volatile? Maybe that's where I get, where I don't worry about. I'm not worried about maybe the ownership so much at one of those more volatile positions, defense, something like that, my third receiver or something like that. I'm more worried about what's the best play in my mind. And if that's the place where I'm different than you in a head-to-head, but we have both the same running backs, we have the same quarterback, we have the same primary receiver, etc., then it doesn't matter. My lineup is still different than yours. We're going to have a close battle, but one of us is going to eke the other one out at the end. That's how you win a lot of your head-to-heads, a lot of your 50-50s, a lot of your cash games. Now, the other way to do this is I'm going to be producing box checkers, I believe, every week because I'm getting a lot of feedback from you guys and from DFS Army members saying that they really like the idea of what are the most consistent metrics that I should be looking at that help me narrow down my player pool to kind of the best of the best. And I will tell you this about defense because there's a concept being presented to us behind the scenes that is really, really strong. And it narrows down the starting point of my box checkers, not from me. I'm not that cool. Not from me, but it narrows down the starting point of box checkers with here are a few major criteria that will tell you when a team is set up in a great spot to bring back their value. And for defenses, that's you've got home and away teams. And home field advantage doesn't matter with defense. Thank you for that 2 years ago, Chris Raybon, right? To shout out where it's due. I read an article and was like, oh my God, somebody finally said home teams don't matter. Good for you. But home and away teams don't necessarily matter in DFS defense scoring so much. What matters? And it makes sense. It makes logical sense. What matters is the favorite coming out of Vegas and the game script and the game flow. Yes, favored helps because if you are winning the game at the end, the other team is playing catch up and they're throwing the ball. We all know that. But favored by more than 6 points. There's an inflection point there. 6 points. Favored by more than 6 points gets another little check mark in the column as an even better matchup because it's an even stronger indicator that you're going to be ahead by enough that that other team is going to have to be throwing for even longer in the game, third quarter, halftime, whatever, and they're going to be just beating balls up into the air for your ball hawks to go and grab and lead to turnovers and lead to possibly pick sixes, etc., etc. That's one of the things we're looking for. The other is it's broken down by game total, like say 45 points. You want defenses that are in a game that are under 45 points, low score. Oh, okay, that's fine. But that doesn't tell the whole story because if he's favored by more than 6 points and he's in a low game total situation, you should be focused on the implied team total, not just the game total. What is the opposing offense's implied team total? There are 3 inflection points there. If it's less than 22 points, pretty strong. because what we're running into is we're running into things like an inept offense, or the defensive side of the ball that we're looking at, keeping the ball away from the opposing team because their offense is running the ball with the lead, and that keeps their defense fresh, which keeps the clock grinding, which puts more pressure on the opposing offense, which is the offense we're targeting to throw the ball to us. Those types of things. But under 22 would stand to reason. If I've got a 45-point game total, or say 46, that's 23 on this half and 23 on this half. If the favored team is a 6-point favorite, then you would take half the spread, 3 points, and add that to the 23, and he gets 26 for the implied team total. That takes away 3 points from the underdog, which would be 23 minus 3, which is 20, which is under 22. So if we look for the under 22 implied team totals, we get a bigger bonus, more correlation, or more consistency hitting value if the other offense is actually under 20 points. And then again, under 18, we get another boost. So what we're really looking for is, it looks like 5 sub criteria, but it's really just 2 criteria. Is the team favored? Is it by 6 points? That's one column. Is the offense, the opposing offense's implied team total low? Is it under 22? Is it under 20? Is it under 18? And when I evaluate that, I can find you a defense that fast, because I can look for big favorites with the other team and low implied totals, which obviously is the way implied team totals work out. Bigger the favorite, the more it takes away points from the other team's implied team total anyway. So I'll look for low totals. If I find a game at 40, 42 points and it's an 8-point spread or a 9-point spread, that's juicy as hell for the other team's defense, because he's favored by more than 6 points and the other team's implied team total is going to be under 20 and possibly under 18. We had a few last year that, now there probably is another inflection point I haven't dug into enough myself personally, that it probably really flattens out. If the other team's implied total is like 14 or 13 or 12, it probably means that offense just sucks so bad that they can't even do anything with the damn ball. And your defense probably comes into a worse spot than if there's probably a sweet spot in there, maybe between, say, 15 and 18 points or something like that. But I don't have any research to back that play up. I've got the research to back the others up. The other thing to look for, and this is where that defensive concept I was mentioning for you goes even deeper, is it's going to look at offensive line play on the underdog offense. Do they give up a pass rush? Do they give up sacks? Do they allow pressure to their quarterback? Is their quarterback literally running for his freaking life? Because if the answer is yes, that feeds more balls into the air, which helps you. And wild balls. Is that opposing quarterback inefficient? Instead of looking for efficiency, and high QBR type situations, does he have a low QBR? Is he erratic? Is he even accurate? Because let's look at the creme de la creme of scenarios. You've got an underdog by more than 6 points, which means the defense on the other side is in a good spot. The favored defense by 6 points. You've got a low implied total because the offense can't do anything. They're going to be throwing the ball all over God's planet come late in the game because they're behind in the game. And they've got a quarterback that is running for his life because his offensive line can't protect him, and he's chucking the ball inaccurately all over the damn place. It doesn't take a rocket science to say that is a good spot for the defense. We can narrow down 16 defenses to probably the top 2 or 3 choices pretty quickly that way. And that's just an area that we'll put a little bit of pressure on this year and see if we can't, unlock the nut to the Millie Maker type of lineup. Which 3 defenses should you be using? Of course, we'd be looking at ownership too, because like Baltimore Ravens are going to be pretty chalky this week 1. But who else is in a good spot? Dallas probably in a good spot. The Jets are actually in a good spot. Cleveland Browns are probably in a good spot. The Chargers might be in a good spot. If you look through the Vegas odds and start looking for these teams, you're going to narrow it down pretty quickly. We're going to teach you how to do that, and we're going to put together the cheat sheets that are going to allow you to do that. I'm going to go position by position with box checkers, quarterbacks, and use those parameters, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defenses, and we're going to try and get that to you every single week until probably about week 12, 13, 14, when we start kind of dying away. But for at least the first 10 to 12 weeks, that is going to be something that you're going to see on YouTube by following this channel. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to subscribe and like the channel down here, ring the notification bell, and get those notifications dropped to your phone when they start popping. Because I don't know yet, am I going to do quarterbacks on Tuesday, running backs on Wednesday, wide receivers on Thursday, and do a daily video, or am I just going to release it all in one big video for you to watch through pretty early in the week? I don't know how I'm going to really do that yet. It's going to depend on my time and my schedule. But that's another way we're going to convey. We're going to have other videos too. The other coaches, everybody else is going to have videos dropping, Twitch streams, all sorts of stuff for you to follow. So you might want to follow the YouTube DFSArmy.com channel as well, because that's just going to be another spot for you to grab tons and tons of quality information. So we're putting all this together for you in NFL, from research station to coaching picks. We're going to have a neat little Twitch streamer video that's going to pop up Mondays or Tuesdays, that our two coaching leads, Cash Keg and Football Geek Kevin, are going to go head to head, week to week, and they're going to put together their best cash lineup and go up against each other. And yeah, we're gonna brag about the record. Oh, you're 3-2 or whatever. You're 5-1 or blah blah blah. But what we're really going to be looking at is watching that video afterwards, and let's get Keg's thoughts and let's get Kevin's, Football Geek's thoughts on where they went, because what you're going to see, like you saw in baseball a little bit with me and Keg, was a little bit of differentiation in how we're going to go attack these things. And you're going to get it from two high volume players. And that's going to be a VIP only video. I'm sorry, we're not giving that out to the public. There's no benefit to giving that out to the public. The time is now. You're going to have to become a VIP. Like I said, you're just going to have to, if you can't beat them, join them, because the whole world is going this way, and there's just very little free information out there of any substance or any quality. Your lineup seller, dude, sorry, he's trash. You're not going to win like that. He's got no content. He doesn't even talk to you about his play. He certainly isn't teaching you how to get better. And maybe you're lazy and maybe you don't want to get better anyway, but I'm not talking to you. That's fine if you want to, if that's you, that's fine. I don't mean to insult the lazy guy. I mean to target the guy who wants to learn. Target the guy who wants to get in here, dig in, and be his own man, basically, or his own woman, her own woman, whatever, and essentially put your own twist on some things. Get a core of solid plays. Get 40 or 50 hours worth of research leveraged down into one cheat sheet for yourself, because you work 60 hours a week. And you want to come home on Friday or Saturday morning or something like that, get up and start cranking on some NFL for Sunday, so that you can sit and watch your games with some skin in the game. These are the types of things that we are leveraging down for you in your busy schedule, but you're not going to get the full lineup. You're going to have to assemble it yourself. You're going to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks to choose from. You're going to have to pick one. Which one's the best one? Man, I don't know. It's going to depend on your lineup and what you want. If you want GPP leverage or if you want cash safety. It's going to depend on if you want to pay down or you want to pay up, because you found value at running back you're willing to gamble on where somebody else maybe isn't, and they're paying up at running back, so you're going to have to pay down at quarterback. Those nuances are still up to you. We'll be happy to talk to you, discuss with you, and tell you where we're going and help you make up your mind that way. But we can't actually roster the lineup for you. And you don't want us to anyway. You're going to want to put your own lineup out there in a tournament and win it. And we're going to have tournament winners. Go over here to the wall of wins sometime and just scroll through our $300,000, $250,000, and $100,000 winners in NFL alone. That's big. You're going to see people like Keg double up their money from $5,000 to $10,000 a week to $15,000 to $20,000 on the back, when it's all said and done. You can do this in cash games or GPPs, and honestly, preferably a blend of both. And you're only going to learn that by people who put their heart and soul into teaching you. So it all comes back full circle to why you need to become a DFS Army member. So jump down there in the comments section or the description and find that link, dfsarmy.com. Click that sucker. Get in here before week 1 gets rolling. Open up, access all these tools. I didn't even talk MLB, PGA, CFB. College football just kicked off and was great. Our Beat the Bookie section over here, our Beat the Bookie guys swept college football yesterday. Turned basically $10 a unit into $150 for you. That's big for sports betting. And that's a sister site that we have to offer. MMA is running this weekend. These are just I have learned through these guys. I started with football, of course. I like baseball and I like hockey, so it's no doubt those are where I typically find myself becoming a little bit more knowledgeable and able to provide opinion. You don't want my NASCAR opinions. You don't want my MMA opinions. There's no doubt. I can't be the master of everything. I can only be the good at a few things. But the idea, the bigger picture here is if you want to broaden your horizons, diversify your portfolio and learn these other games, this is the place to do it. I can tell you from personal experience, this is how I learned about baseball, basketball, more about football, a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of golf, things like that. The sports that I like to play, tennis, soccer, it's all here. So whatever your little side sport is, you need to get in here and unlock the coaching for that too. Because now that you've got coaches leveraging all of that time in NFL, you don't need to spend the time researching. You can just take their core plays and then throw in a few of your side pieces. You can do the same thing with baseball. You can do the same thing with golf. You can do the same thing with college. You can do the same thing with NASCAR. You can play 5 sports in a weekend now. Whereas before it used to take you 20 hours and you might not have had that kind of time in a day. Now that we've put the coaches in place for you, you can bounce questions off of them, talk to them in our coaching forums, and get great feedback on what it is that you're doing. I would just encourage you one thing: don't do the "how's my lineup" crap. Hey, what's this look like? Your coach is going to look at you and laugh. He ain't even going to answer it probably because you have a better question in there, not "how's this look overall." Oh, yeah, you're going to win the Millie Maker. We can't make that call for you. Come on, get smarter. However, if you have some questions between these plays and these plays, like I don't know, I threw one out on Twitter the other day. I've got, I'm debating between uh, Travis Kelsey and who was it, Chris Godwin, or the leverage play of Mike Evans and maybe Hunter Henry. And I'm like, which one do you think is better? Well, our guys can tell you, but they're not going to tell you why. If you really want to know why, you have to ask, you have to feed them information. Here's what I'm looking at these two. Here's what I'm looking at these two. Does this make sense? And then they may provide back, but did you look at this or did you look at this? You have to pull the conversation out of our coaches. They aren't going to just naturally give you more than a yes or no answer if you ask a yes or no question. So don't ask a yes or no question. That's the art of getting better. That's the art of receiving coaching. That's the art of learning the game. And that's up to you. You're going to get out what you put in to dfsarmy.com. And I promise you, if you put in a lot, you are going to find this is the best place in the entire industry. We're getting up on 30 minutes. I want to get out of here. This was just designed to be somewhat of a tour through the weekend to tell you that you need to get in here because everybody else is locking all their stuff up too. And I'd hate to see you miss out. And I know where the best place to join is, or I wouldn't be putting my name behind it. I wouldn't be putting my reputation and my credibility behind this site if I didn't believe it. I'm an OG here because I know what we're trying to do. I know, and we are very centric on trying to help you get better. We're the only place. Everybody provides content, everybody provides tools, everybody provides an optimizer, everybody says that they win, but nobody actually digs into you responsive interaction and teaches you where we're going, why we're going there, and tries to help you come to the same conclusions or your own conclusions. Only DFSArmy.com. Hit that link up. Use that coupon code CHOP down there at the bottom, CHOP. Trigger that 20% off discount. Get in here before week 1. It's Labor Day weekend. You got nothing better to do. It's probably even Paycheck Friday for some of you. Get in here and get lined up to start playing some football. I'd love to have you. Hit me up on the inside at Chopadong. Tag me inside the coaching forums. Dude, I will spend the time with you that it takes to get you up and running. And if I can't do it, I will pass you off to the guy that can. That is my promise to you. I hope to see you on the inside. Hopefully you see these tools that are getting ready to come out. I wish I could show you more screenshots, but they're still a little bit in development while they populate and while they load up. But they're coming. And it's going to be a huge NFL season. Don't miss out. Take care, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side.